great to be back in Nashville and see so many friends here. This has been kind of a whirlwind of the last 24 hours for me. I started out speaking in Keene last night at the Cheshire County GOP meeting. Then this morning I was in Rochester talking to the good folks in Stratford County. And then I was up at Dartmouth College this afternoon giving a talk up there, and now I'm back down here in Nashua. And all I can say is thank God you guys practically border Litchfield, because I have a pretty short commute home after this dinner this evening. Howie Carr, it is great to have you here. Great to see you, Captain. I was telling Howie earlier that my first internship in school, believe it or not, was at WRKO in Boston. And I, because of that, got to listen to Howie pretty frequently, and also maybe even called in a couple of times, always under a pseudonym, of course, Mark from Dorchester. And I can say it with that accent because I was born in Winchester, not too far from there. But I will say this, that in all my times of listening to Howie, you know, I remember thinking someday they're going to finally catch Billy Bulger, and we're going to owe this man a debt of gratitude for being relentless and willing to go after him every step of the way. And Howie, we owe it to you. Thank you very much for what you did. And just make sure he gets a good trial. I know you will. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that change is on the way. Change is on the way to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue when we elect a new President of the United States, Mitt Romney. And change is on the way to 107 North Main Street in Concord when we put a Republican in the corner office finally. And folks, I'm running for governor because, in my opinion, it is time to replace the milquetoast leadership that has characterized the corner office for the last 8 years with a governor who is principled, who is decisive, and who's going to get something done for a change. We need a governor in this state who's going to get more done in 2 years than what John Lynch did in 8 years, which frankly shouldn't be all that difficult to do. But we can start by getting New Hampshire out of Obamacare, repealing Reggie, passing a voter ID law, and making New Hampshire a right-to-work state in the Northeast state. Now, as I just told you some moments ago, I have been traveling all across the state, talking to folks about my long-term vision for New Hampshire. And my specific plan, called New Hampshire's Future Is Now, to make New Hampshire the most economically competitive state in the country over the next decade. And it's a plan that lowers regulations and taxes on businesses large and small so that they can grow and create more jobs here in New Hampshire. It's a plan that invests in upfront technologies to make government more efficient and make it more accountable and transparent to the taxpayers by doing what I did when I ran a state agency, which was implementing a system of metrics and measurements across all state agencies so we know the efficacy of the programs that we're funding here in New Hampshire. And it's a plan to make health care more affordable and more effective in the way we deliver it by introducing competition into the marketplace, by allowing businesses and consumers to purchase health insurance across state lines. There's no reason we shouldn't be doing that. And it's a plan to lower electricity rates, because we pay some of the highest electricity rates in the state right now, in the country right now, by opening up the free market, allowing the public utilities to purchase electricity at the cheapest rates possible rather than subsidizing these alternative forms of energy. Let them all compete on the same playing field. And it's a plan to keep, yeah, that's worth clapping for. We need to lower our electric rates. And it's a plan to keep more of our young people here in the state by forming public-private partnerships with businesses and corporations, getting them teamed up with the universities, community colleges, vo-tech schools, to making sure we're putting more of our young people on career paths where the good, sustainable, high-paying jobs are in the future. And we believe all these things as Republicans because we know it is not state government that creates jobs, but it is state government that creates the environment and the atmosphere for good jobs to be created in the private sector. Right. And Folks, if we do that, there's no reason why businesses from south of the border shouldn't be flocking to the state of New Hampshire. You know, Howie, I've said oftentimes on the stump, I plan to be Governor Deval Patrick's worst nightmare by poaching jobs from the state of Massachusetts and bringing them to New Hampshire, because our people shouldn't be paying income tax to the People's Republic of Massachusetts. He's done just a minute here, Andrew. Look, I want to say this very quickly, okay? If I'm fortunate enough to be your nominee this fall, and I get to go toe-to-toe with one of the taxing twins, Maggie Hassan or Jackie Silly, I will take every opportunity I can, just as I did day in and day out when they were in the state senate, to remind people of every tax-hiking, job-killing, business-busting, nanny-stating, Debbie Downer policy these two ever voted for. You like apples, Nashua? A tax on LLCs, a tax on campgrounds, a tax on rooms and meals, a tax on lottery winnings, car registration, electricity rates. If it moved, they taxed it. How do you like them apples? The Democrats at that time, they even wanted to put a fee on anyone that put a helium balloon into the air. And folks, this would have cost me a lot of money, because I got 3 small children who love parades and they don't hold on to balloons very well. Ladies and gentlemen, I am running to be your governor because I have the vision, the energy, and the experience to lead us into a new era of prosperity. And I will use my experience as a former state legislator, as someone who worked as an assistant for a U.S. senator and a former governor, as someone who ran a state agency and got good reforms on the inside, and someone who also got and fought for good conservative policy on the outside as well. I will not check my principles at the door. I'm running as a Republican. I will win as a Republican, and I will govern and serve on Republican principles and values. And together we are going to make New Hampshire the envy of the rest of the nation. My website is kevinsmithforgovernor.com. Go on there, sign up for my emails, make a $5,000 donation, whichever way you're feeling led. Thank you all. God bless you. Have a great evening.